Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Mr. Z and Fifth with your host, Zacchaeus in the Fifth General. What up, Zacchaeus?
Hey, it's good to be here. Good to be here.
As usual. So I'm excited about today's show, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
I'm excited. We have two guests today.
Yes. Blessings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me bring them up. Before I get into that, we want to thank everybody for listening to last week's episode. I want to give another shout outs to Ray, our brother Ray, for showing up.
Ray. Yes.
Good episode, good feedback.
Good feedback.
And we're gonna get into today's show. And I'm very excited. We have two new voices who we haven't had on the show before. And I'm very honored that this season we've been able to have a more diverse panel. We've had more people on here than we've ever had. So things are doing very well. It's a hard grind. We've been doing this for 7 years, but this is what dedication looks like. Sometimes it starts with one view and then it grows.
It grows. Yes, absolutely.
And, for those who know our history, we've been doing internet radio since 2008. And,
Yeah, 2008. Yeah, Live Zone Radio.
My Live Zone Radio audience, and then we did that for 2 years, and then we had to go on a hiatus and regroup. But it's all good though.
All good, yeah.
It's all good though. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to mention that again because sometimes I like to talk. All right. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna introduce to the panel. Zacchaeus, you care to do the honors?
Yes, Mateo. Yes. Here's good virgin of mine, Mateo, and the doctor.
All right. Let's go ahead and do it.
Hello.
All right. Yeah. Hey. How's it going?
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, welcome to the show. Introduce yourselves for the audience, if you don't mind.
Hi, my name is Mateo. I'm originally from Staten Island, New York. I recently moved out here to Texas, Dallas, Texas, to be exact, back in May. And, just trying to live my best life out here now. And this is my mother.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nicole, Mateo's mother. And yes, we moved from Staten Island, New York recently, and we're in the DFW area. And we are so happy to join you. And thank you for having us.
Man, absolutely. Let's go ahead and take that applause. All right. So we have an exciting show today. It's always good to hear my fellow New Yorkers. I don't know if Zacchaeus told you, but I'm from Staten Island too. I left New York in 2017 and I moved to Dallas first. Then I came to Houston in 2020. So yeah, I'm basically couple hours from you guys, so I like it here. I
have a question for you. What made you move?
Yes, sir.
What made you move from Staten Island to Houston?
So, in a nutshell, rising cost of living in New York started to kind of take away from some dreams I had of being a homeowner and owning properties and stuff like that. So I felt that dream would be better and more fulfilled, in a place that is a little more affordable and feasible for my income at the time. So I was able to come out here and accomplish those said things. So looks like I made the right decision.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah, move. Yeah, I'm still in New York. Yeah,
wholeheartedly understand that exact reason. That's why I'm out here. The cost of living in New York is it's out of this world. Like down here, receive more of your paycheck. There's only federal income tax you have to pay, not state or local. New York, you get,
hammered.
You get hammered. Zacchaeus, you're so
my reason, in addition to the obvious, the monetary, the financial, was COVID. Unfortunately for me as a physician practicing in New York, with all the restrictions and then everyone being at home, and it seemed like we were going to be locked in our homes forever. It was like, okay, at least if we have to stay at home, let's get a home where it's a staycation home. So, you know, the amenities. And if we had to stay in the home for in the foreseeable future, at least we had room, and I could bring our parents, my mother and father, his grandparents, and we could live whatever our lives were going to be at that time in a comfortable, more spacious environment with more amenities. So.
I think that's great. That's great. I'm gonna give a round of applause for everyone in that. I like that. You know, so anything the two of you like to just promote before the show starts? I'd like to give that opportunity now, if that's okay.
Certainly, I'm gonna hand off the baton to my mother.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity, Fifth. I really appreciate. So, as I said, my day job, my full-time job is I'm a senior medical director. I've been at the same company for 15 years, but I do not do direct patient care with the company. So I really miss seeing patients, and I do have a gift in which I listen to my patients, and I'm able to diagnose and be able to, help patients who are misdiagnosed, which is different than misdiagnosed. I say MISS, diagnose, because the physician didn't even listen long enough to the patient to get the diagnosis. Fundamentally different than a misdiagnosis, MISDIAGNOSED, which is they have the incorrect diagnosis. So unfortunately, for many of our people, I find that we have both. We're missed and misdiagnosed.
Yeah, true.
And so that's my my gift. I will call it.
Amen. Yeah, for that. Yeah.
So I feel it's my duty to give back, because at the end of the day, I can sign off from my day job and go enjoy life, but I feel like it's a vocation. So for me, I launched my business, Your Doctor's Doctor, and that is my DBA. My actual PLLC is Nialte, and I'll tell you what that's. It's for Nicole and I. Alexis is my daughter, Mateo's older brother, and then TE for Teo, NIALTE. So that's my PLLC, but my DBA is Your Doctor's Doctor, and it is for a reason. Your doctor needs help, and your doctor has me to help them to help you. So my is like, Zach or Fifth, if you have a headache that's not being diagnosed, or abdominal pain, weight loss, whatever it is, and you keep talking to your doctor and they're not getting it right, that's where I come in. I take that information for you and I figure it out, because it matters to me. And I also offer an array of services, whether it's, sick visits, cancer testing, and, weight loss, counseling. I did a lot of counseling during COVID because a lot of people were just anxious and stressed, and, a lot of couples, it was tough because people work 8 hours out of the home, and all of a sudden you have these spouses or these partners who are stuck in the same house day in and day out for days and days and months, a lot of stress and strain. So I did a lot of counseling, and I still do. And then aesthetics. If people aren't happy with how they look, I can help you from the inside to the out, whether it's, IV hydration, different glows and different things to help with, different vitamins and things like that. If you want topical skincare, if you're more TikTok, instant gratification, which, I can help with Botox and fillers. And so just the array of everything. I am a one-stop shop. So that's me. And thanks for the opportunity.
Wow.
I like that. I feel encouraged to go a little further when you talked about being misdiagnosed, because I do know a thing or two about Black men and Black women, especially Black women, in terms of, I feel like they misdiagnose a lot of Black women with psychiatric help. A lot of times they just want to throw a pill at it, but they don't necessarily want to fix the problem. When it comes to Black men, a lot of us are being misdiagnosed, and we miss symptoms like anything that's related to heart or the prostate, you know. And so there's a lot of misdiagnosis there. If you share to kid any stats or any data that you have to provide of the black community being misdiagnosed in mental and medical care.
Wow, Fifth, you hit on absolutely the two exact topics that I can give you, unfortunately, real life examples. Let's start with women.
Yes.
New England Journal of Medicine came out a few years ago with an article that showed chest pain. Let's just use chest pain.
Yes.
Because they use chest pain, and they showed that if it's a white man, a black man, a white woman, and a black woman who goes to the emergency room, the black man and the black women definitely have inferior care, and even the black woman, obviously, unfortunately, we're at the bottom of the totem pole.
Yes, absolutely.
All three, the men and the white woman will get the appropriate chest pain pathway evaluation. Unfortunately, with us, black women, it's like, oh, you're anxious. Oh, take a pill.
Take a pill.
It can't be a true cardiac origin. So my sister-in-law, unfortunately, her aunt years ago in Trenton, New Jersey, where I hail from, she had chest pain. This is a true story. Went to the emergency room, was basically told she was anxious, went home a few days later, presented back with shortness of breath, swelling, and they really took her seriously now. Guess what had happened? She had a heart attack. They missed it. Now her heart died, essentially, and she was in heart failure. They had to teleport her to Pennsylvania to another hospital. And unfortunately for her, she winded up with a heart transplant. So had they taken their glasses off, I call it your biases, your unconscious bias glasses off, and looked at her and evaluated her the same way you would any basic person, man, woman, no matter what color. I always say I put on my non-biased glasses when I see a patient. I don't start looking at genders. Implicit biases and unconscious biases are things that all doctors have, unfortunately, and studies have shown, guys, even Black doctors have it as well, which is and honestly, not sure why, but it's there. And she basically, she had a lawsuit, had tons of money, but guess what? She has to take 40-something transplant meds a day. That's no quality of life.
No quality of life, no.
It's no quality of life, and all the money in the world can't give her back her health. Number two, a very disheartening story. My dad's best friend, he had back pain. I was still in medical school, and my dad said, Joe's having all this back pain and the meds aren't working. I said, Dad, did he go get a PSA test? Did they make sure it wasn't something new? That's the other issue. Doctors get stuck on the thing that you come in with. They get stuck on the bias of you saying, oh, I have this back pain. I broke my back 10 years ago. That's called an anchoring heuristic. They are now biased. They're anchored to what you tell them. That's not how medicine works. You can take that, listen, and that should be part of your differential in the industry, but you have to, as a physician, think of other causes. So I told him to please go get his PSA. It was through the roof. He had prostate cancer to his spine, and he died. Late 40s. Unacceptable.
Remind me of my friend's sister that died several years ago, in 2003. She was 24 when she died. They gave her a pill. She had an aneurysm. They gave her a pill, sent her home. She died before she could get to her doorstep.
At 24?
Yeah.
So she has an aneurysm, and they say, oh, you got a headache. You're a Black woman. You're stressed because, whatever. And probably treated her for that. A new headache in someone who's never had a headache, it's not Tylenol or whatever they want to give. How about doing an imaging? Because it's the same imaging you would do for a non-Black woman or definitely a non-Black woman, but also for men. A lot of times they do have, Black men are a little better than us because unfortunately we're at the bottom of the totem pole. But at the end of the day, our care is definitely not the same. And so that is why I feel that God gave me the gift and the vocation of being a doctor, because for me, it's not about the money, it's about our people. We don't have advocates for us the same way that other, minorities do, because other minorities do, because there's Asians, there's the Latinx. I want to be politically correct, but what I'm saying is that others take care of themselves. The Indian, we don't. We have unfortunately indoctrinated in us, unfortunately, some of the same biases, and so we have to recognize that. It's okay if you have it, but recognize it and then remove it from yourself. Take those biases, those anchoring heuristics. Listen to your patient and don't just assume. Don't go to the most benign, meaning good reason why somebody, like having chest pain and saying it's from a muscle injury or a little heartburn. That's not as significant as making sure you don't rule out an aneurysm, a heart attack, things like that. The same thing with the brain. Unfortunately, with our people, I see a lot of that. And with the high blood pressure, we don't have high blood pressure just because we just eat the wrong things. We have primary hypertension. It's genetic. It's something that doesn't matter if you are the healthiest workout person, you're the ideal body weight. After every decade, we are going to have extra, higher numbers, blood pressure numbers. And that's okay. But we just need to accept that and realize that's something we have. But we don't need to die or have more. Dying sometimes is not as bad as living with something terrible. Living with a stroke is so depressing and it takes so much out of you and the caretakers. So, having strokes, having heart failure, not being able to breathe, kidney failure, dialysis. I can give you an example. When I was in Brooklyn, a patient told me, I'm in the hospital, doctor. I said, okay, guess what? You can die. So what, doctor? I said, guess what? You can end up on dialysis. Okay, doctor, I'm staying. Because again, deaths for some people is not as fearful as living with something chronic and being basically bedridden or miserable. So those are the things that really bother me. And I really can only say that I'm here to champion for our people and our people's health.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have one more before we get into our topics. I'm actually honored that you're even talking about this. This is a huge contribution to this platform, and it's actually inspiring me to ask more questions. So I will ask this, and then I'll get on. I mean, I could ask more, but I do want to do this. Can you also talk about the importance of having a primary care physician?
Absolutely. And thank you for that question, Fifth. Your primary care physician, for lack of a better adjective, is your gatekeeper. It sounds trite. It sounds old. It's like, oh, the gatekeeper. It's so true. What I'm finding, and just so you know, I've been in practice for 28 years. Medicine has it's just changed dramatically, metamorphosized. And so what I'm finding is with the newer age doctors, social media, TikTok, everything is instant gratification. Everything is about how I can just earn money and do the least amount of possible. They want to check without doing the work. They're the zigzag generation. They go like this. They want a different job. They're here for 2 years, here for a year and a half, here, because there's no dedication. It's always looking for the next thing to get them more money. And so what's important is communication. Social media, unfortunately, there's definitely good things about social media. There's never anything that's terribly and all wrong. The issue is how you use it. And so unfortunately, for what I'm seeing, and I've seen it personally with my mom being in the hospital the last 3 weeks, no communication. So we had, the doctor who came in, for the headache, which is the neurologist. We had the doctor that came in for the infection, the infectious disease specialist, the doctor that came in for pain. So All these doctors come in and they're great in their own specialties, but they do not communicate. So I sat in that room, and as her daughter, I should have been a daughter, but I had to be in a physician role as her primary care doctor, to your point, Fifth, and had to be that gatekeeper. I had to keep those lines of communication open. I had to tell the doctor that came in for the code blue, don't give her the blood thinner. She doesn't need the blood thinner for that. She has a headache. You don't even know if she has a bleed or a stroke or anything. Don't just give and be reactive. Sit back, look, analyze, look at what everyone else is saying. Read the notes. Use your medical knowledge. Don't just, I think a lot of these young doctors rely on AI, but AI is a resource if used appropriately.
Yeah, AI. Mm-hmm.
But you got to don't text, pick up this phone, make a call and speak to people.
Right.
Ask that doctor, hey, infectious disease doctor, and when people are rushing and they're being in haste, it makes waste. And in this context, it can cost someone their lives. Had I not been there, my mom would have probably not been here at least 7 or 8 times because of what Fifth asked, the communication. And that's where that primary care physician comes into place, because they have to be able to take the information from everyone, synthesize it, integrate it, and make a plan that's safe for their patient. But most importantly, you have to listen. 80% or more of the diagnosis comes from listening to the patient. Everyone's in a rush, no one listens. And that's the problem. We don't need all these fancy tests. We don't need anything but our ears and our hands and that stethoscope, because I can find a lot out from that alone.
That was great.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I have no words.
There it is. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's true.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that was said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'm so glad you asked. Every question you asked has been on point, and this was not even planned.
No, it was not. And
this was not scripted. This was not scripted at all.
No, yeah.
I must say, one of the things I say to people in regular life is every moment is a teachable moment.
Every moment.
Somebody's going to see this episode and specifically zero in on what you said.
Yeah.
And I think that's much needed. And I mean, this is turned into a health portion of the show, and it's just inspired me on a future subject and subjects that we've had in the past that we wish we would have had somebody in that field to talk
about it. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. I'm honored, because now I have another idea after this show. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna get into the topic. Bishop Marvin Winans has gone viral off of a clip that everybody has been talking about. Lady comes up with an offering. He gave instructions, but he came up with an offering. A lot of people felt like his attitude to what he said to the church member was a little bit too far. So I want to play this, and then we're going to get into it, and we're going to get everybody's opinion. So let's go.
Breakfast Club.
Okay.
A certain amount of money. Let's take a listen.
I, Roberta McCoy, giving faith and stand in unity with the vision of Perfecting Church of sowing this seed of $1,000 plus $235 and receiving the blessings to come to all that participated.
Now that's only $1,200.
Yes.
Y'all not listening to what I'm saying. If you have 1,000 plus 1,000.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna work on the other 800.
Well, that ain't what I asked you to do.
So So Fred Hammond is like, well, Fred is like
that sounded crazy.
Yeah, definitely did.
So
it
listen,
sounds crazy. Yeah.
It does sound crazy when you hear it just cut up like that, and it went viral that way. But if you go back and listen to the full church service and the instruction, what was happening is he had people line up in a certain order. What he's telling her, not that her money isn't good enough, is that she came in the wrong order, and there were so many people that lined up. He was trying to keep it structured. So let's take a listen to his original instruction.
We're going to do this a couple of ways. Those that have the 1,000 plus 1, that means you're coming with your 1,000 that you're giving, plus you've asked someone else to give. Now you don't have to stop at 1,000, and we're going to deal. So in other words, if you say, Pastor Winans, I'm coming with my 1,000 plus another 3,000, then you'll say that. You understand? And if you didn't get plus 1, but you maybe came with $250, you're going to come say that this is my 1,000 plus 250. You with me? And we're going to go all the way down. So I need you, in order for this to work, I need you to come when you're called with the offering that you're bringing.
You still confused?
I disagree with all of it.
She did it wrong, but it still sounds nasty and disgusting.
I don't think you should put a number on it. Just let people donate. Let people know what it is that you need, right? He said he needs something for the church.
Well,
and then people donate whatever it is they can donate. I don't think he should put a number on it or line people up and say people with 1,000 go here and people with this go here.
That's what it seemed like. Yeah.
Just let people donate.
I guess he's going to look at it that I was trying to shout them out for giving that money, but like Charlamagne said it shouldn't matter. It should matter what you giving. If all I have is $700 to give, and I give $700, and that's my last, you should be grateful.
Well, he said so. Fred Hammond, when he came out and defended this, he said organizations and churches raise money for their own all the time. Let them do what they do, basically. And that this was taken out of context. But Miss Roberta McCoy, who was the woman that you guys heard in the clip, and Pastor Winans, cleared this up with a local news affiliate because she was getting threats and he was getting dragged. Let's take a listen.
Why would she get threats?
Because you're
the woman in that viral video.
Right.
He did not rebuke you.
He absolutely did not rebuke me. Now, there's a difference. There was a correction because let me clearly state that Pastor gave instruction on the lines to get into.
I was calling because the whole church was giving, and it was our day of giving, and the whole church was coming, and we didn't want people standing, the mothers and all that, so I was calling them by increments. And we had someone that had given out of before, and I corrected it, and I told everybody to listen and come when you call, and that's all that was.
What happened to passing the plate around?
Nah, niggas been stopped doing that because
They do like
people
text,
pick it out.
Sometimes they pass it, but
Yeah,
this is like a special day of giving.
What about ushers? Like, you know what I mean? Because the reality is you shouldn't make nobody line up because you know there's a lot of old people there. If you need the money, you should have people going around collecting the money from folks.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to churches where that has happened, you know, and like he said, to his defense, churches have a certain way that they do go back and they ask. Like I've been to churches that I belong to a church where they will come and ask you for whatever they need. Everybody sold $100 a day. And then when they tally it up, if it ain't enough, we're going to ask y'all to go back.
I don't agree with that.
And go,
all right, we're going to stop it there.
Yeah.
We're going to stop it there. Sorry it was a long clip, but, you know, I had to play all of this just for full context. Mateo, I'm gonna have you go first, and Doctor, can you say your name one more time? I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I respect your title fully when I refer to you and I call for you. I'm sorry.
No problem. Dr. Nicole.
Dr. Nicole.
Dr. Nicole. Good. That's fine. Okay. All right. Hey, Mateo, I want to get your opinion on this first. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, you've heard everything in totality. What is your first thoughts on, you know, you reacting to this situation with Dr. Marvin Winans?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I agree with Charlamagne the God. Like, you know, it's a choice how much you want to donate. You shouldn't have to put like a certain number that you have to donate to a church. At the end of the day, it's charity, right? Charity is an option. It's not like mandatory. You have that option to donate. So already demanding $1,000, not everybody is under the same like financial, you know, umbrella to donate $1,000. You know, people are living paycheck to paycheck. And you're telling me I have to donate $1,000 and then some? Like the doctor, he said 1,000 plus 3,000, for example. Who do you know on a regular basis is donating $4,000? Like, you know, under certain, like, socio-economical standing every day or weekly if you're going to church on Sunday, right? I don't know anyone personally. Do you?
No.
No, right, exactly. So I just find that pretty, like, peculiar and odd to, like, demand that from somebody, especially, like, if you have a big family, right? 3 kids, barely getting by paying the bills. I disagree with that statement wholeheartedly. I can't like resonate with him with having to donate 1,000 plus 250, just 1,000 in general.
Yeah.
Yes. Counts of you donating, right? Like, at least you're giving back to your church. I shouldn't have to be forced to donate 1,000 plus some. And then the order, like, you have to do it in a sequential order, and then you're getting, like, irritable and angry with me because I stepped down a line and I didn't donate in the proper way you want me to donate. That's an issue. That's an issue, in my opinion. I don't agree with it.
Yeah, and and before I go to you, Dr. Nicole, I want to keep in mind that this woman did go through the effort of actually donating to the mark that he actually was talking about, at least close enough. She and even though he said what he said, it's not like he still took that donation. If you notice, I know I don't have the actual video footage, but the actual video footage shows Dr. Barbara Winans still accepting the donation that she handed over.
Yeah.
So yes, he said what he said, but that still didn't keep him from
taking it.
Hello. So Dr. Nicole, I want to ask you a similar question, but I want to add this to it. Some would say it's not what you say, how you say it. It's not what you ask, but how you ask it. It's not how you when you express gratitude, but how you expressed it. Whether it's in a humble way or with critique. Does his tone of voice and how he spoke to her also kind of feed to the stereotype of why some people don't even want to even go to church when they see examples such like this? You have the floor, Doctor.
Oh my goodness. I feel like you're almost telepathic, Fifth. I'm not even. I'm going to give you quick context. I grew up with a father who's Portuguese and he's Catholic.
Oh.
He was an altar boy. And then my mom, she was Methodist and then she became a Baptist. So I grew up, in private and Catholic schools. So totally different. So I've been in both. And I always wondered why when I went to mom's church, everything seemed to revolve around that plate that they money. And, I just felt it was, and this is me as a little girl, pressure. And, then as an adult, I've always, been Catholic. I've had issues with the Catholic Church. Of course, we all know I'm not going there. But anyway, I still have my own relationship with God. So I don't need a physical building or any other person to have my relationship with God. But I still wanted my children to, have that, religious foundation. And so I definitely had them come actually to the Catholic Church and have catechism. They may not believe in it, and it's fine. I actually study religions of the world. I respect everyone. Everyone has their right. I've gone to, as an adult, to these, Catholic, even when we moved here, our neighbors, have a church, et cetera, et cetera. We go to the church. I'll be honest with you. I didn't feel that pressure in their church. And it was very nice because, like I said, I had been in others where I did. But I said to my husband, I said, the problem I have with the churches, that I see a lot of time, in addition to the hypocrisy, that the stress, and it seems like there's an emphasis on this monetary portion. And I feel it should be, I know they say there's tithes and it should be a percentage of your income, things like that. But to Mateo's point, we're all living, in very stressful, trying times. Majority of people do live paycheck to paycheck. And so it should come from the heart. It shouldn't be dictated, it shouldn't be mandated. Honestly, I've never heard, and this was very shocking to me to hear a monetary value, and no disrespect to the pastor, just for me personally, just seeing that was very surprising. And I feel that people should be able to come with their hearts, and their mind and their souls for the right reason. And it shouldn't be a thing where they're avoiding or feeling uncomfortable to go because they don't have the monetary requirements that are being asked. So I'm actually sad to see, to see that video, because it hurts my heart to feel that someone who may be going through a tough time that wants to go to church and have their time, in the sanctuary and fellowship, feeling pressure or any, anxiety or stress or whatever, to where they go there and they feel uncomfortable, or it deters them from going at all. So, and it's not what you say, it's how you say it. To your point, my mom to this day, and I share that with my children and whomever else I'm counseling, marriage counseling, personal, enhancement, whatever. It's how you communicate. Communication is the number one reason for divorce. It's not money. It's not infidelity. It's not to say those aren't on the list, but communication's at the top, the lack thereof. And it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And you're right. If it were conveyed maybe a lot differently, it could come across differently and not be so intimidating and so standoffish. So I agree.
Wow. Zacchaeus, your turn. And when I give the mic to you, Zacchaeus, you know how we do.
Yeah.
We know what the Bible says about God loving a cheerful giver.
Yeah.
And so, we went through this when we talked about the situation with Marvin Sapp.
Yeah, remember Marvin Sapp.
Close the doors. Close the doors.
Marvin Sapp.
When people were trying to leave the sanctuary and he called them back in for another
offering. What he told them, he said, "Listen, y'all are only going to get some chicken dinner. Y'all are only going to get to the restaurant."
Right. Right. So, and I bring that up as an example because you would think Dr. Marvin Winans learned from that and how that looked and how that was a bad look for Dr. Marvin Sapp. So, Zacchaeus, given your thoughts, because I know you had a perspective on this earlier last week.
Yes, I did. You see, I look at it this way: see those clips, Marvin Sapp's clips, and you see you see Marvin Winans' clip.
Yeah.
People that never serve God or they know about church, but they don't go. You're not going to catch them watching a Christian YouTube video. You're not going to catch them watching a church service. I can't argue with somebody that, because they're going to jump and say, well, looking at this clip, church is all about money. They're going to say that. They're going to lean on that. I can now, by sharing these, see, that clip went viral. Same thing with Marvin Sapp's clip, it went viral. So me being a person that's trying to share the gospel, and trying to tell somebody to go to church, they're gonna just look at that clip and say, listen, the church is all about money. And when you share clips like that, and when you try to invite people into the church and they see stuff like that, it's like a turn off. It's a turn off because here is it, because I got a little bit annoyed. That's why I had to, on my other podcast, I got a little annoyed that he would actually tell people to bring up that money in spite of all that's going on. The inflation didn't go nowhere, right?
Right. Government shut down. People haven't gotten paid for a month.
Government shut down. You got this this government that's doing all the program cuts, SNAP, Section 8, food stamps, SNAP, Section 8, food stamps, all these governmental programs that's being regulated. And here is it that, I don't know how all the videos, here is it that Reverend Marvin Winan is asking people in the congregation, like what Mateo said, you don't know people's status or people's financial situation, and automatically he's asking to bring $1,000. But what turned me off? What kind of told me to like, wait a minute. He sounds kind of a little arrogant, Reverend Marvin Sapp, because she's given 12. This is the collection of all the whole congregation. She's given $1,200, like $1,200, like, and he's saying put 1,000 on top of 1,000, which makes it $2,000. And like you said, Fifth, the $1,200, that's not enough. I mean, it just kind of, people give from their heart. What about the story of the woman that Jesus admired when she came and she gave all she got? She gave all she had. And Jesus valued that woman because she gave all she had. More than the other rich men that gave what they can. They gave because they wanted to give. They gave because they were rich. They gave what they wanted to give. But this woman that Jesus admired gave what she gave all that she gave. She was called the poor widow. The poor widow that gave all that she got. And I'm like, and this is why people are kind of like the ministry and the gospel leaves a little bad taste in some people's mouth and some people's minds, because it's like, it's all about money. It's all about money. And they look at clips like this. You see, the Breakfast Club, what they did was they went deep into it. And the woman, Nicola McCoy, she had to explain that, she was not rebuked. But what most of them YouTubers got, and like myself got, you look like you were rebuked because you only gave $1,200. This man asked for $2,000. That's what it looked like to the public. That's what it looked like to everybody that viewed that clip. Then you see, people go by what they see and initially, right? Yep. And nobody has time to dig into, well, why did she accept him rebuking her? Nobody has time to go into that. The people only going for what they see initially, right? And that's what it is. So Marvin's, they can explain themselves. They have to totally explain themselves, because that clip right there, it just didn't look good to the masses that seen that clip. I'm just saying. And a whole lot of YouTubers came on there, and I'm talking about Christian YouTubers, came on there and they just critiqued Marvin Sapp. They did.
Checkmate.
Yeah.
I want to say this, and then we're gonna move on. You made a point. There are people who on the outside looking at it like, see, this is why I don't go. This is why I don't go. But for those who say that, I would like to go to scripture to explain what should be. So in 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 5, it says, "Therefore I thought it necessary to exhort the brethren to go to you ahead of time and prepare your generous gift beforehand, which you had previously promised, that it may be ready as a matter of generosity and not as a grudging obligation." Verse 6, "But this I say, he who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and he who sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. So let each one give as he proposed in his heart, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loves a cheerful giver, and God is able to make all grace abound toward you, that you always having all sufficiency in all things, and may have abundance for every good work, as it is written." Okay. For whom it may concern. I mean, because I understand, and Zacchaeus, you made a point. This can deter people, and then also this can prove people's, biases that they may already have against the church. And I understand. I understand, because it's the kingdom's responsibility to make sure that the right thing is being done, because we know that the world is watching.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the kingdom's responsibility, And so, hey, look, this is not to really just beat up on Marvin Winans, but this is also to understand that Marvin Winans, people are watching, okay? And from here until now on, you may have to explain a few times for the next couple of Sundays exactly what it is your intentions was, and also to answer to those who may have a grudge against the church because they see something like this. Mateo, it looked like you had another thing to add on to it. I kind of saw you. Anything you wanted to say again?
Oh no, I was just basically gonna agree with you and concur with that. He just has to be mindful now going forward. He may have a few more people tweeting at him, like,
yeah,
how it is, you know what I mean? So he just has to like walk on eggshells and has to explain himself with context. Like you said, people saw the video like out of context. They didn't see the full picture, right? Right? It's like a few second clip. That's how the video was, right? It was a few seconds. Beginning of that video, leading all the way up to that clip, and then thereafter, like how you said that he still took, her donation, then people would be like, okay. They still might have not agreed with what he said, but at least now they have the proper context.
Yes.
Right.
Right. And I was hoping he would have said, "Sister, thank you."
Exactly.
Thank you for your contribution, because I'm telling you, it still would have went viral anyway with here's the $1,000 line and here's the $10 line. I don't like that anyway. But at least he would have said to her, "Sister, thank you for coming up here and donating this generous offering that you had, and you was comfortable with coming up here and giving it. Thank you."
Thank you. Yeah.
If he would have did that, it wouldn't have looked as bad.
Yeah, I agree.
We're gonna move on. Hey, before I move on, Dr. Nicole, do you have another, comment on this particular subject?
Yes, humility goes a long way, and modesty, right? Because it's not about the building. It's not about the outfit you wear when you're, in the pulpit. It's about coming together and allowing people to heal their souls or, fellowship with God, with their God. It's not about all the extra. And I have so many people I speak to, they meet in a house. They meet in very modest buildings, because it's not about the aesthetics. It's about here and their relationship with God and that fellowship piece. And when it comes, it comes. But if it's not there, it's okay. I know many pastors who have a full-time job, because for them, it doesn't matter about more or less, just doing the pastoring and utilizing, the funds or whatever, the remuneration of the church. It's about their people and the fellowship and the worshiping, and they're okay, and their humility is there because it's about God and the relationship that the people have, not about a fancy church having fancy cars to come there, fancy suits and all. So that's where I struggle, because I feel we don't need all that. If it's there, it's there. But if it's not, we don't pressure. We just love and allow people to do the best they can.
Wow, well said.
Well said.
All right, Zacchaeus, man, you ready? We're gonna go on to our grand finale of the subject. We'll spend most of the time on.
Yes.
All right. So I was doing some looking, and every now and then I want to see what the world is talking about. We do dating subjects all the time, but this specifically stood out because it's almost like a guideline that I have seen, and we're going to give kind of our take on it. So I was looking at something, and they said there was a trend on TikTok, but it started last year. It's called the 333. I have an article here that I have also reference. It says the 333 dating rule is a modern guideline for assessing a relationship's potential at 3 specific checkpoints: 3 dates, 3 weeks, and 3 months. It suggests that using these milestones to evaluate mutual attraction, consistent effort, and long-term compatibility, helping individuals decide whether to continue dating or move on. The 3 checkpoints are used to gauge whether the connection has enough substance to progress beyond initial excitement. So the breakdown is, after 3 dates, this initial phase is for getting to know each other.
3 dates.
The focus is on whether there is genuine mutual attraction and chemistry beyond initial pleasantries. It's time to see how the person handles different situations if you have shared values. I'll stop right there, and then I'll go to after 3 weeks and after 3 months. We'll piece by piece. I'm going to go to you, Dr. Nicole. the 3 dates. I can say there's something to take from this. There's also something prior to a date that we also must do. Vetting is very important. I believe that picking a wife, husband is one of the most important things you'll ever do in your life, because you could pick right, but then you could also pick wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So I like that it says here that this initial phase is for getting to know each other, focus on genuine mutual attraction, chemistry, and stuff like that. If you shared to give a take on what is it that men and women should be looking for prior to the first date, and what should they also know after the third date?
Okay, so that's a real loaded question. Because, there's so many personalities. It depends on what part. If you're a person who's coming from a relationship that, that ended, and versus if it's your, first relationship, what your motives are, what your goals are. So it's a great question, but very loaded. And so, I share this with people all the time. Number one, I find, especially with couples that I meet, people are all, when they go from one relationship to another, they're looking for what was missing. And then unfortunately, they don't see things that are there that are definitely cons, because they, for instance, I like to talk in concrete examples. So if you had a spouse that wasn't communicative, or a spouse that, was always out and wasn't home, and you're looking for someone who communicates better and they spend more time with you at home, you're going to see that. You're going to focus on that, have your blinders on that. But what you might not see are other deficiencies that are there, because you are just so desperately seeking what is important to you at that time. And you don't see and notice other things. And then they do come up and they can surface later on and can become an issue. Another issue is that what you see in the beginning of a relationship with a person is usually the same thing that is there later on. So if you see someone who, may, I'm just going to use easy examples, that is a homebody or a workaholic, or, somebody who tends to hang out a lot. If they still do that later on, and maybe initially they try to change for you, but they go back to who they were that person before. And so in all fairness, don't use that against them, because that's who they were. You may have gone in and thought you can change them, and you thought that you had your powers, or they would get, so remember, when you go from one relationship to the next, don't have blinders. Look at everything, not just what you were missing, but look at what's there in your face. And oftentimes it's going to be there at the end. So when I counsel people and they say, well, he did this and he does this, or was that there in the beginning? Yeah. Did you notice it? Well, I didn't realize, or, well, I thought I can change. It's not fair necessarily, because a lot of times there's certain things people can change, and there are certain things that aren't modifiable. They're not going to change, and don't use it against them. The other thing is that, what is your goal? I've had patients that come to me and they're 45 and they want to be married, or maybe even if they're 40 or whatever, I want a baby. So you're so focused on wanting a baby that you're not even looking at that person. You're looking at the fact that you can have a person that can have a baby. Did he want a baby? Does he want to be involved with the child? He may say, sure, we can have a baby, but that doesn't mean that he's going to be involved in waking up with the child, the doctor's appointments, the homework, the sports, the extracurricular. And then you want to call him a deadbeat, whatever. But is he really a deadbeat, or did he give you what you wanted? You wanted the child, you have the child. You never discuss what comes after having the child. You know what I mean? You can go to a sperm bank and get but it's more to it. So in all fairness, a lot of it goes to what I said in our other topic, which is communication. And expectations, because if you don't clearly communicate and say explicitly, not implied, but explicitly, you may know that being a parent involves this, that, and the other, but you need to speak with those details with your partner and not just presume, that they know. I also feel that people can conceal themselves and who they are. 3 months definitely is enough time, but for some people, they can conceal themselves. I have a friend that told me she needs 4 seasons. She said, usually in 4 seasons, you can see enough about a person, because maybe the first few months or half a year or 9, people can conceal who they are. But a lot of times, and not every time, nothing is absolute. Everything is not black and white. But usually in 4 seasons, you get to see, people's true personalities. Also, you need to do things and interact and have other people to see, if you're always home and just the two of you, you may only see a certain side of someone. But, put yourself in situations where you interact with other people, you do other things, and also uncomfortable conversations, because it's easy to kind of more or less, when everything's great and easy and fun and there's no stress, it's great. How do people respond under pressure? And you're not necessarily going to get that in the first, 3 dates or, the first 3 months. And so, and people who are savvy can conceal. There's stories where people have been married 6, 7 years, and then you find the husband wants to have a new girlfriend and he murders his wife and children. They had wait, that story, unfortunately, I'm not making this up. It's definitely that awful story with the gentleman that did that to his wife and kids. That was 7, 8 years. So it's not that people can conceal is the point. And so I don't think it's an easy thing to just say, hey, after this finite time, I can tell who someone is. People change under different circumstances. Someone loses a job. That's a pressure, that's immense. And for a man, your priorities are different than ours. They say women are from Venus, men are from Mars. It does make a difference, right? Because for a woman, her priorities are, and this is no offense, of course. It's just, it is what it is. It's like the job is not number one. For a man, it matters, taking care of their family, their job, money, family. Whereas for a woman, it's like, her children and her husband. It should be, necessarily, that's a bit, I won't go there. Who should be for their children, their husband? I'll just leave it there. But, career, unless, some women emphasize their career over their family. But when, things happen and there's financial pressures, that can change that dynamic. And you really can see, the pressures that come when, money's not there, when there's the recession. Right now, we're dealing with the government shutdown. I'm dealing with patients that are dealing with that. Huge stresses and burdens. And a lot of things come out, and it really shows true character. And to your point, Fifth, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? So under stress, extreme stress and duress, things are said and stated in ways that, people don't sometimes think before they speak, and it causes a lot of stress. So for me, I've seen people who've dated, a few weeks and they get married and it's happily ever after. And then I see people who do, the stages, and they, go and they're either friends, or even if they're not friends, they date and everything's great. And, 6, 7 years, they call it the 7-year itch, and things happen. And so it's so multifactorial that I really would be, I guess, remiss if I said, oh yeah, you need this, that, and the other, because it's so unique for each and every person and individual based on their backgrounds, their journeys, where they're coming from, their experiences, their lack thereof of experiences. So I think it would be fair to say that everybody has to have their own course and journey based on who they are, and then, based on the interaction with that person. But I think I can now defer to you.
Do you want me to go next?
Let me phrase a question for you, Mateo, because yes, you're definitely going to go next. Now, Mateo, I'm getting the impression that you are under 30 years old.
I am. You are correct.
Okay. Now, I'm 38. I don't know if Zacchaeus wants to share his age, but Zacchaeus is a married man.
Yeah.
Right? Right? Now, Mateo, I don't know your marital status. So are you married or
I'm
non-married?
single. By the book, like textbook definition, I'm single.
Okay. So according to the government,
yeah,
he's single, just like I am, right?
Like I found myself single.
There you go. So dating would look a little different for you than it would for me, or almost kind of similar, right?
Absolutely.
So I would say this. It says 3 dates, right?
Yeah.
What is something that you want to know about a woman that you're pursuing in date 1? And then also, what is something that you would be comfortable in sharing towards that said woman in date 1 before we get to 2 and 3?
Okay. So I believe like in date 1, right? Let's say I'm going out with a girl. I want to get to know like her interests, right? Like, does she like sipping and painting? Does she like to read a book? Does she like having Bible study? Does she like go-karting, mini golf, archery, axe throwing? You know, all those fun little miscellaneous things that you like to do on dates, right? And then like I have to pick her brain, like see like where her head's at, like what are her long-term goals, right? Like, does she have any aspirations? Does she just, want to just like go with the flow, or she's like trying to build herself up, like build a business, for example? Like, who knows? Like, if you want to be like a nail technician, salon, go to school, like to be a beautician, some of those things definitely on date 1, because you want to get to know the person. You don't want to just like be a scarecrow and not say anything and like face eat your food or whatever. So yeah, definitely like if we're like in a restaurant, like having a sit down, ordering food. That's definitely all those are the questions I would bring up to her for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna stay with you. Okay. So I would say leading up to that, I'm sure when you're talking to a woman, whether it's on the phone or whatever, I'm sure there's going to be conversations prior to the first date, right?
Correct.
So there may be some things that once we get on the first date that you two may already know.
Right.
Once we get to the second date, some things could repurpose themselves in this way. You want to basically kind of feed off of date 1 and build upon. Maybe there'll be more fun on date 2. Maybe the ice is probably already broken, and maybe things are more established between you and her where you feel a little more comfortable with each other, but still also reserved, right? So let's say the conversations get more personal. Because now it's are we dating with intention? If you're dating with intention to be married, right? To have a family, right? I'm sure there are things that you need to know about her, and she also needs to know about you.
Yeah.
What are the things that by date 2 in a conversation that you would also want to know, from her after you done had all the introductory stuff prior to the first day and the first day?
Yeah. So after like all the icebreaker stuff on like date 1, date 2, definitely want to know about her family, right? Want to get to know like, how many siblings do you have? Grandparents, aunts, uncles, or like do you have any pets? Or or whatchamacallit, do you like what are some of your hobbies like to do? Do you like to cook, right? Or I don't know, to be honest. It's kind of similar to date 1, just expanding, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right. So definitely just more, I think, talking about the family involvement. Sorry about the sun setting here.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, just talking about the family, and then obviously just expanding upon like our ideals, our morals, our values, trying to figure out what type of person that she wants to become, right? And how involved is your family in your day-to-day life, or do you not rely on your family, right? Because everyone's different. Some people have their family heavily involved in their life. Some people don't have their family heavily involved. So that can kind of change or alter the course of how her mindset is. You know what I mean? Like, is she somebody that gets on her own, or does she collaborate with her family to get stuff done too? It makes a huge difference in that aspect. So Yeah, I mean that's definitely what I would bring up on date 2 for sure. Probably go to Top Golf too and talk about that.
Yeah. I think activity dates are essential in the beginning of getting to know someone.
It stimulates
kind of
too.
Yeah, it does. You also get to see a person's on the spot thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Date 3, and I'm gonna pass this mic on to Zacchaeus. After I talk to you, Mateo, about date 3. Now, date 3, that can go either way. I would say by date 3, my advice would be at that point, you need to really find out if this woman's really feeling you. Because if it's not going to go any further, then date 3 could be the last date, and you never see her again. You know, so I think a lot of things are said in date 3. Now, date 3 is not necessarily day 3. It's just date 3. So there could be weeks in between that, you know? And
Right.
so I would say that we would have to get to the point where, you know, hey, you know, where is this going? And then, you know, also I would say for us men, you know, we really have to lead the charge if we want a relationship. Like, we have to be very vocal. We have to tell women, hey, you know what? We've been talking. Because you never want to, this is just what I think. You never want to leave a woman in limbo, because sometimes a woman has already probably decided, but just hasn't told you yet exactly where she wants to go next. She's waiting on you, you know? It took all of this for her to accept the dates, but now she's like, you know what? I can see myself being in a relationship with this man, right? So on date 3, what is at that point? What is it that you want to know, and that you would be okay with sharing on date 3?
For sure. So date 3, right? That's like the deciding factor whether or not, you know, you see a future with this one that you're currently seeing, or you don't see a future and just move on, right? So definitely the things that I would want to know, like where her head is at, like what do you want? Do you want to, you know, build upon a relationship, or are you just doing this for fun? You know what I mean? Yeah. And if that's the case, then I know for a fact I'm not going to marry this woman if she's just looking to have like just, you know, fun or like a situationship. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah. So definitely by then, like, and she's also giving me like cues and signs and signals, like, you know, the way she's looking at me, the way her hands positioned, you know, like just certain stuff, like, you know,
body language.
Yeah, body language, you know, or if she, you know, caresses you a certain way, or, you know, she just all these little itty bitty things that build up to her liking you or not. Because by day 3, if she's not feeling you, you can tell, right? By all those little miscellaneous things I mentioned earlier. Or if she is feeling you, right? Like in her head, she already has it. She already has her mind made up that she wants to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But
or not.
Or not. Yeah. But yeah, definitely by day 3, you know, I mean, regardless, however, you know, she feels, you have to make the decision too. Because if you don't communicate the fact that you don't see a future with this woman, then she'll never know. But if you do that, then she'll know, and then she'll just move on to somebody she already has her eyes on, like, you know,
right
on the bench, I'd like to say. The bench. But yeah, so I mean, you just gotta make sure you don't beat around the bush, right? You want to be very, you know, direct and honest. You never want to be the person that's being manipulative or just being conniving, lying.
Yeah,
you know, and then just like having her head spin in circles because now she doesn't know if, you know, is he into me? Is he not into me? Does he want to be my boyfriend? Does he not want to be my boyfriend? You understand? Because, you know, like you said, the communication, there's a saying, communication saves relationships. It truly does.
Yes.
And when you don't communicate that, everything can just spiral out of control.
Absolutely. Dr. Nicole, I can't wait to get back to you, but I got to go to Zacchaeus. So Zacchaeus, you can't. We've done topics like this before,
Yes.
So I'm gonna request for you something different.
Yeah.
Is there any bullet points that you could give for the audience, for men and women, as far as things to vet for and look for within these span of 3 dates?
Good question. Good question. You know when you're dating somebody if they're excited about you. That's off the key thing, because they have some people that when you date them, they can definitely waste your time because they can put you in because if you don't communicate and tell them like, okay, maybe we should, where do you want to take this? So communication is a key thing, because you could be going out with them, hanging out with them, but not because you didn't converse that with her. She can tell her other folks and and you're in the friend zone. So in other words, you're taking her out, spending time, consistent time with her, but she's also hanging out with you and also making you spend that money, right? Maybe you want to take a nice little walk in the park before you spend all that money, $300, $400, whatever, when you go on a date. Make sure that you go to a nice little cafe. We don't have to spend so much money and talk. And that's the thing. Don't take somebody out into a lavish restaurant or to something that's expensive, because by you doing that, you don't know your status of where you stand with it. Because in this generation, see, in my generation, it was a little different, where you know if you're dating straight, because when you know when you're dating somebody or not. You know, but this generation more like I'm sorta, I'm kinda, and you're guessing your way, and you're guessing, you're going out with her, you may be trying to hold her hand, but you're guessing, you think she's your girlfriend, but in a way she's not feeling you that way, because you haven't communicated that, or it's not a direct thing. It's more that it's a guessing game. And and people can waste your time. And I say this, that this is a true test. And this is my advice, and this is a true test. And this is because this is how me and my wife was before we even started, when we started dating. This is how it was. If you're not excited to hear each other's voice on the phone, if I cannot talk to you each and every day, at least once a day, or that's when you know that, okay, that if we're excited to speak to each other every day, we're excited about each other. I can't wait to hear your voice. You can't wait to hear my voice. But we're busy. We're at work, and I'm doing what I got to do. I'm in school, and we're excited to hear each other. We're trying to hear each other. But if I can skip 2 or 3 days without hearing from you, that's not the one.
Red flag.
Yes, if I can skip as a woman or as a man too, vice versa, both ways. If I spoken to you and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give him a break because I already spoke to him 3 days. Let me just give him a break 4 or 5 days. You gotta know where you stand. It's not a guessing game. She's not excited about you. If she can go, I gotta always call her or always text her. How you doing? How you doing? But there's no reciprocation. In other words, if I don't call her, if I don't reach out to her, then if I don't reach out to her, then she's not reaching out to me, then guess what? There's nobody reaching out to each other. If I'm reaching out to her and I got to do all the efforts, I'm doing all the efforts, then, and I'm not it's not being reciprocated, then you know that she is not the one. Not the one. But if it's like a mutual thing where she tells me, oh baby, I know I'm texting, but I can't wait to hear your voice. I had to speak to you today. I know I'm busy, blah 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 blah, and it's like a excitement to be together. You can't wait to see each other. Yeah. That's the one. But if I could go a whole 2 days and 3 days without speaking to you, red flag, like what Mateo said, that's not the one.
Did you hear what I said?
That's not the one. And a lot of people, they do this. They will date somebody and say, she's excited about, you're excited about her, right? Yeah, I'm excited about her. Yeah, you're calling her all the time. True test. Don't text her. Do not call her. See if she's gonna call you or text you.
Mm-hmm.
See if she's gonna call you or text you. And it goes for the women too. See if he's gonna call you and text you. Stop calling and texting. Put your phone down for a while. Do what you gotta do. Handle your business. Take care of your business. See if he's gonna call you or text you. Those are tests. I always tell young people that before you start dating, do the testing. Always go through the testing because you don't want to waste your time. Time is precious. You do not want to waste your time. You don't. No. Yes. And people do like wasting your time. Yes.
And you got that right.
Yeah.
Let's move on to what happens after 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it says here, after 3 weeks, by this point, the excitement of the honeymoon phase may have started to fade. This checkpoint assesses if the connection is sustainable and if the other person is making consistent effort to see you. It's a good time to see if the spark is still there and if a deeper connection is developing. Dr. Nicole, I go to you.
So these are great questions because I have so many friends that are in this stage. And so, so people meet either on, Facebook or all those dating sites, or some people meet, the old fashioned way where it's either through, a mutual person or, on their own, whether they're in the store or whatever. But it's so interesting because, I'll get called. Now, this is not me as a physician, as a doctor. It's just more me just as, a friend. And it's like, oh, he didn't call me. What do you think? You think he's interested in still, it's like, do I call him? Like what you were saying, Zach, do I make, the call first, or is he going to think I'm sweating him or I'm too over, you know what I mean? So, and it's so interesting because like here we are, middle-aged people. And this is the same thing I remember when we were like in high school. It was always, back then it was a home phone versus, now it's the cell phone, but it's the same. People are the same, no matter if they're 17, 37, 57, it's still the same, insecurities and the same, issue, whether you're a man, to your point. And it was nice to hear you say that because, I'm always speaking a lot of times to my girlfriends. So it's nice to hear from, our male counterpart that they feel the same way. Like they want you to initiate and have the same interest or show that interest. And so, it's like, oh, he told me another call. He's going to call back. He didn't call back. Should I call, the day will pass or whatever, let's say. And, should I call? I haven't heard from him this morning. And it's like, you know what? Take a chance because, and I'll be honest with you, it does matter the generation. So, I have a friend that's dating somebody in their 60s. Maybe he really did forget. He's just, so busy doing so many things. Maybe he forgot, and it's not intentional, especially when they're dealing, a person who's working, busy career, a sandwich generation person like myself, taking care of parents and still have, so there is multifactorial. So give them a chance. Don't just give up. If you really have an interest. I asked my girlfriend, do you get butterflies? Do you get excited? I mean, I understand that when you live life and had a lot of relationships, maybe, you're at a point in your life, well, maybe you won't get the butterflies, but some people do, the butterflies in the belly. And, one particular person told me, you know what? I've, had several dates and different guys, but this one gives me those butterflies. That's your gut. That's your instinct. It feels right. So take the initiative. Don't feel that you have to sit back and lose out because maybe he's sitting back wondering the same thing. That do you like him or why is it always that he has to make the call? So I feel like at that point, that you called it that phase, I call it like is the infatuation phase over. So now it's like novelty, right? Is the novelty over? Of course, it is the novelty. The beginning is always fun. It's the unknown. It's the new person. But by that point, I feel that is a good point in which you kind of feel like, okay, this is starting to be a chore. I'm not waking up in the morning thinking about them. Like to your point, it's like, is it a chore? Is it like, I get to them? That's telling you right there that probably not that person.
Yeah.
The person you wake up and you're like, you want to just hear their voice, or if you're too busy to maybe make a call, but you want to let them know you're thinking about them. And so I do think it is. I don't think it takes 4 seasons to figure that out. I don't think it takes. I think you can figure that out in that, that 3-week point where you're going. I do agree.
Okay, well, that's pretty good. Mateo, you know what? Hold on. Hey, Zacchaeus, do you got a question for Mateo? I know I've been like the moderator today, but do you have a specific question for Mateo on this subject?
Yeah, well, I don't want to ask you if you're dating anyone, but is it like because I've been on the dating scene for years. Oh my gosh. Plus years, man. So how is it today as far as like the dating scene? Are anybody going to any how is it with all this expenses going on more? Because listen, it's more expensive than when back in the night. Listen, I guess I'm telling my age. Back in the 1990s. It's more expensive now. So how are people doing it now? How are they courting each other now with all these high expenses?
No, that's a great question, Zacchaeus. Honestly, nowadays, like, I'm pretty sure you brought up earlier, like, when you're going on your first date, like go to the park, people go on park dates, maybe like bicycle riding, believe it or not, right? Going to the gym. I've been seeing that recently. People going on gym dates. Yeah.
Gym dates. Yeah.
That's like an NZ thing or any other generation thing, but I've been seeing it more and more. Definitely going to the bar, right? Getting a couple drinks, talking, going to like Applebee's or Chili's, right? Outback, just like, cost like, affordable places that aren't so costly.
Yeah.
Right? So, those are definitely places. Oh, the movies. Come on now.
Movies, yeah. Remember Dr. Nicole? Remember the movies was our thing,
That was it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the movies are
and all that stuff.
It's still in trend. It's not out of trend. We still do that too.
Yeah.
Bowling for sure.
Bowling, yeah. We did bowling.
Be competitive. Be like, oh, I'm gonna beat you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's definitely that's still a thing. Definitely. Bowling's one of my go-to dates. So,
actually, I've been doing pool.
Pool?
Yeah, shooting pool. Yeah.
Pool, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Pool, yes.
Yeah. Or even like table tennis. I don't know if you guys.
Table tennis, yeah.
That's good too. Yeah, table tennis, air hockey, all that.
Air hockey, yeah. Roller skating. That's like iconic.
Sunday, but it's a nice hot sunny day, nice walks in the park, and it's like go to a nice park though,
I
remember we used to go to like Coney Island Boardwalk to walk around. We did that. Because y'all are from Staten Island, the Fada Capadana Boulevard, the boardwalk over there.
Yeah, the South Beach.
Yeah. So those simple things, nothing expensive, nothing extravagant.
Right.
And that's what it is. Yeah.
I think you should do something extravagant once, like, you're gonna go like be in a relationship with the girl. Just don't take every girl you're first meeting out to like Ruth Chris, right? Or STK. Or don't do that on the first date. Yeah. Now she has a first impression like, oh, he has money.
Yeah, right.
And maybe you do have money, but let's just say somebody who doesn't have money, but they're just trying to impress the girl. You know what I mean? But the whole time, yourself financially, you can't sustain taking her out to all these luxury.
No, you got your bills. Yeah.
Ooh. And it's okay. Girls like when you take the time to plan out a date and execute rather than going to like the most fanciest restaurant. You know what I mean? It's all about.
I have a question for Dr. Nicole. Do you remember the dating hotline thing? I don't know if you remember those.
Date hotline. Wait. So what is that? So back in the 90s, do you remember?
In early 90s.
Do you remember when AOL came out?
Yes.
AOL, and there was like Messenger. And so, I had like my professional persona.
Yes.
And then I had like my, dating persona. And so it's so funny. And so AOL Messenger was like, to me, the beginning.
It was a big thing. Yeah. Yes.
And so I would get on there and I won't name the names I had for myself.
I remember that. Yeah.
It was so different because other than that, it was like I said, who you know met when you went out or somebody
Right.
hooked you up. But it was the first time you could go in there and have some, you know, fun, fancy name, and people see your name and they message you, and
Yes.
you stay at home and it was safe, and then you had to decide to but yeah, is that what you're referring to or something else?
Oh yeah, no, that's it because I remember when I used to do I'm talking about back in 90, oh my gosh, 93, 94. Oh, if you wasn't born yet, I'm sorry. Oh, just get it. no.
I was born in 87, sir.
I'm sorry, brother. I'm gonna tell you wasn't born yet. Yeah, I'm like the same. Tell you.
Yeah, 03.
03, yeah. And we used to do the dating hotline where you had like 5-10 potential dates, and you used to call, make the phone calls, and you used to put your profile, you used to do your profile on the phone call, and you had to list your phone call on the hotline, and then you couldn't even see the person. So when I went on I remember doing my first date. I remember it was like, man, and we met at Macy's Macy's in downtown Brooklyn, way back. I'm talking about back in 90, before I met my wife, back in 92. And that's how it used to be. And it was like, and then when you see the person, you're like, oh shucks, I didn't expect.
You said Janet Jackson. You look more like Freddie Jackson.
So I honestly, in 90, true confession, in 92, 93, I had just applied to med school. I started medical school in 93. So
you did?
Yeah. So I wasn't on, in the dating scene. So when I mentioned AOL Messenger, that was like towards the end of, my medical school, where I can like come up for air and even think about doing anything, social.
Right.
Then, what I did when I went. So no, I missed that. But yes, it's still the same concept, because even with AOL Messenger, people put the pictures they wanted you to see. And then you go in person, it's like, like I like what Fitz said, like Janet Jackson versus what you were going to get. And so, but
not to cut you off, but nowadays, like with our generation, like the way technology has advanced, like you can Facetune, have all
absolutely.
Like you see one thing on the gram, and in person you're like, hold on. You look on like your gram, like what's going on?
And then there's
what's going on?
Yeah.
It's advanced so much. It's crazy.
I would like to add,
not just the dudes.
Yeah.
The dudes.
Right. And I would like to add also, it's a good and bad thing what technology has done with dating in this sense. Mm-hmm. Because prior to online dating and the phenomenon that it is today, your realistic idea was, I'm gonna more than likely date somebody who's local. But now there's this kind of weird little delusion that, I'm all the way in New Jersey, but I'm gonna get somebody in California, and because you think you got all this access, that you think you got all these options when you really don't.
Right.
So I think the illusion of inclusion is the bad side to the dating game that I'm seeing today. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, right? And I'm gonna get back to the topic. Is that, you have people who will look at people's lives on Instagram, right? Mm-hmm. Instagram, for people who need to understand in a nutshell, is just a highlight of somebody's life. And I can tell you how much of a highlight it could be. I met someone that I work with, right? I won't say her name. But she goes on trips every now and then. This is what she'll do. She'll put in her bio that she's a travel socialite person, right? When really she don't travel like that, but she go, right? She'll go to, like, I'll give an example, Jamaica, and she'll take like 100 pictures. She'll post one picture, one by one, every day, every other day, so it makes it look like she's always out of town. You get where I'm going?
Yeah.
It's like the illusion factor, like you mentioned.
Yes.
Right. But other people see that, who don't have a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of. Come up with some money that they don't have and try to live the life that they live, and all it does is just put them in a hole.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they will use that in the dating world to market themselves as, well, if you want to be with me, you need to be somebody who's ready to travel.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, one of those, there's some red flags there. Why is that the first thing that's on your mind? Is traveling. That's not how dating works.
No.
That's how having fun works. But actually engaging in a relationship, the real life situation is when you go back home and you got to live your everyday life and you got to cook and take out the trash. That's who you really are.
Yup. Preach.
Not what you do on the road.
Right.
So when we talked about this honeymoon phase, right? Zacchaeus, what does the honeymoon phase look like? And what are the things that can trick you into thinking this honeymoon phase could be the rest of the relationship? Go ahead.
The honeymoon phase, it's the honeymoon phase is more like the romantic portion of the life with that person, right? That's the honeymoon phase. Then after the honeymoon phase is the real life, like the real, like how is this person with you with the grind now? How is this person when it comes to facing ups and downs and the whole ups and downs in life? When you go through the journey with this person and you see their character, you see who they really are once you go through the journey, because the honeymoon phase is a beautiful thing. I love the honeymoon for that. And I think couples should always be romantic with each other, even when the honeymoon phase is it's fading away. And if you're married for 20 years and still be in love with each other and still, it's a blessing in disguise. But the honeymoon phase it's the beginning of it's like the romance in the highest level, because you and your significant others going on a trip to Jamaica, you're going to Aruba, you're going to all the and then even after that, when you come back from your trip, you're still in that honeymoon phase. But the real test is a test of time. That's the real test. Am I willing to go through? It's gonna be other ups and downs with you. Am I willing to be that, like what the hood say? Are you willing to be that rowdy dad chick for me? Are you willing to go through the rough times, the good times? Are you willing to go through there's gonna be good times, there's gonna be some times that are challenging. And the truth is, if she can, because some people, this is how some marriages are. When the going gets tough, some people get going. They said, I ain't signed up for this, and they're out. They're out. That's the risk you take when some people cannot deal with a lot of pressure. Some people can't deal with some people can't deal with stress. Some people, a little stress can man or woman can drive somebody away from you, or drive and when you know somebody truly loves you is when they go through the rough times, the rough edges with you, and they're still standing there with you. That's a person that you should never take for granted, or never push aside and take for granted, because I've seen people got married 6 months they divorced already, or less than a month they divorced. They're in divorce court.
No way.
They divorced already because in their mind it was a facade. In their mind they didn't know what the commitment, what they really was getting into. Because I've heard people got married right away, and then the next thing you know, it's like, oh, I got a curfew now. I gotta come home. I gotta answer. I gotta tell you where I'm at all time, because all this time they were single. They didn't have to answer. They didn't have to answer to nobody. They didn't have to deal with nobody. But now that you're with somebody, and this would be even before you get married. I didn't know I had to tell you where I'm going. I didn't know how to tell you where. Dummy, because I care about you and I'm in love with you. I want to know where your whereabouts are. I thought that's what we're doing. And some people don't realize that those are the little things you got to establish before you get married. Yeah. Because you can't establish them while you're in marriage. You gotta establish it a little before. That's all. That's when you're serious about somebody. But the honeymoon phase, going back to the honeymoon phase, is just the the high level of the romance. And then comes after the honeymoon, then it comes to the real life. Facing the real life, and talks about having kids, talks about going through the real life situation, bills, how's this person habits with paying bills. It's a lot of little things that you look at after the honeymoon phase. Because the honeymoon phase is sweet. That's what the moment that you're having sex every day. You're just getting it, every day.
Yeah, basically.
Not skipping a beat. Every day is romancing. You just yeah. Oh yeah, buns and all that. Bag of potato chips, everything. Oh, but after that, there's the real deal.
Buttermilk biscuits.
Oh yeah.
Okay, hold on. So let's go to the last part of this 333.
Yes.
It says after 3 months, this is a significant milestone for evaluating long-term potential. It's believed that by this time, the initial chemical rush has stabilized, and that you are starting to see the person more clearly, including how they handle stress and everyday. This is when you can better determine if you are truly compatible for a serious relationship, or if you are just wasting each other's time. Dr. Nicole, your thoughts?
Exactly. So, not to sound repetitive, but exactly what I mentioned before, because when everything is fun and new, the infatuation stage, the novelty, people are getting to see the very best of each other. And I mean, unless something comes up during that phase, but typically, even if it does, people still tend to put on a facade and want to impress and keep it going. But then the novelty's over, the dust settles, life is life, and then people's true colors come out. And that's really a true testament to who you are and your real persona and character, and how you handle yourself under duress and stress. And to me, that can make or break. And that's why I say sometimes that 3-week period or 3-month period might not be enough, because you're not getting a chance to where you may encounter that. And that's why I really believe, for most, not all, I think that 4 seasons does matter, because I don't know too many people who have just, especially this day and age, a blissful, perfect existence for 12 months. There's usually something going on, whether it's, if you have children, or if you have, the parents, or if you have, job stressors, or, if you have a landlord or whoever's, bothering you. I'm just going through all the different scenarios because everyone's journey is different. And you had a bad day at work, or, you had a pet that, passed away, and how you handle, grief in that process. Do you close yourself off? Do you, retaliate and get upset with that partner? So I feel that life will life in the course of at least, a longer period of time. I feel like, for a lot of people, that shorter duration may not really, display their true colors. And so I think we need a little more time. But in the event that people do have some stressor during that time, I definitely feel that that will be the make or break, to your point, Zacchaeus, because at the end of the day, I don't care who you are, when you really have a stressor, your real personality will come out. You may conceal it once or twice, but I don't feel that most people in most instances can continue to conceal it. And if you do, you're a wonderful actor. But most of us, we are who we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mateo, man, this kind of goes full circle to what I was talking about when it comes to, well, actually, that you brought up about the initial things that you start with, right?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned not taking a woman out to a super high-end type of date, right? As far as like the place to eat and stuff like that.
Correct.
I would just say this to kind of further speak on that.
Mm-hmm.
When a man leads with that as his most effective dating starting point, that could go either way because it also depends on the woman and how she receives that. So this is what I typically say.
Yeah.
No matter what the date is, you always want to make especially the first date, that it's more about the two of you as opposed to the experience. And the reason why I say that is because although the experience may be nice, but if it's more about the experience, not the two of you, then you will be going out on a date with a woman and you won't remember a word either of you said to break down exactly how things are going to go between the two of y'all. All you're going to remember is how much that ribeye steak tastes.
Yeah, you're right.
But as far as like what she's about and what you're about, and that initial chemistry will be missed. So you always want to make sure the intention of a date, especially the first one, is about the experience that you have with each other, as opposed to the experience of the actual date itself and where you go. I just wanted to say that. Okay, now I can actually ask you a question.
All good.
3 months, right? I know this is a modern guideline, not a guideline that I'm suggesting everybody follow. But I would assume 3 months there has to be some type of exclusive relationship, right? I would think, right? So within that exclusive relationship of being with someone for 3 months, do you think at that point there should be some things you already know, but now it's more so, I've been with her for 3 months. Where do I get to the reality to understand I'm not gonna like everything about her, or she's not gonna like everything about you, but is it enough to go further than the 3 months? What would your opinion be about that?
Okay, good question. Can I bring up an example?
Go ahead.
Okay, let's say I meet this girl, right? I met her back in July, for example, right?
Yeah.
And let's just say I'm in a different headspace compared to her. However, we both like each other's personalities, right? So, we start off as friends, go on a few dates, you're in that honeymoon phase, right? That we like to say first couple of weeks, right? You're going out, seeing each other's family, whatever the case may be, right? And suddenly, like 3 months, like just passed by, right? So then at that point, let's just say she brings up the question, so what are we? But if you guys didn't establish anything in those prior months, you just had fun and none of that came up, I don't think it's fair to say in like that third month, you should like be in a relationship or not if you never even established the foundation of what we're possibly going to be. You know what I mean? So like if it was brought up like in the beginning, let's just say like after the second day, like, what are you looking for? Oh, I'm just trying to, be casual. I'm not looking for anything too serious. What about yourself? Oh, I just recently got out of a relationship. I'm just trying to be casual too. So right there, you just established what you guys are looking for. Something casual, nothing too serious, have a good vibe, and just have fun. Right? And at that point, like, who's to say, like, obviously, like, if that person want to go on dates or you want to go on dates with other people, by all means, if you guys establish that, that's fine. But if you want to make it exclusive to just you guys obviously hanging out, right? Like doing sexual stuff, like, because you don't want to do that with like everybody. That's just disgusting. That's how STDs and AIDS are brought into
Of course.
So you just obviously, have sexual activity with that one person and then y'all be exclusive, right? And you've made it, you communicated that fact, right? Effectively communicated, then, I mean, I don't see no issue with that. But like I said, everyone's like, predicament is different, right? Depending on the circumstances that you created from the beginning, from the origin, not the revelation. you know? So I don't know, especially like with my generation, right? Like everybody's like it's a very instant gratification generation, how we spoke about earlier. Like everybody's on social media. Everybody feels like they need to be rushed to do everything, like instead of just taking their time, feeling it out. Because when you take your time, you really get to feel out who the person actually is. When you just rush into a relationship with somebody, you don't understand who they really are. Like my mom mentioned earlier, people conceal their identities, right? And like their true motives and intentions. So you don't know, after 3 months, you possibly don't even know who this person is if they were just concealing themselves, showing them one side and not their ugly side. It's like Two-Face. He has his like non-burnt side and the burnt side. You don't know.
Right.
You truly don't know. But I believe like if we're doing it by, modest ways of how dating goes, usually, after 3 dates and then the 3 weeks and then the 3 months, if you guys are both feeling each other, get into a relationship. If there's nobody in the picture, you're not taking a girl serious, she's not taking a guy serious, why not just date? And you guys obviously, like each other's vibe, you like being around each other. He makes you very vibrant. She makes you very outgoing and open up your shell. Get into a relationship. What's stopping you?
Yeah.
You only live one life. Why not live it to the fullest? And, stuff happens, but you gotta be a person that lives in the moment. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we all take the moment for granted, especially, like I said, with social media. Like, I feel like we're all desensitized by like true, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like true, like lavish experiences. It's like media, like kind of just waters it down like plants. But like when you really are in the moment with somebody and there's no cameras around and like you're very passionate about that person's passionate about you. There's nothing, a video camera can do to like just erase that moment or like just stay in the moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, Zacchaeus, I gotta ask you a different question, only because me and you have talked about this in a prior show, but 3 months, man. I would think that the communication has to be right and exact in this particular way. 3 months, the two people should establish if they're on the same. They should have established at some point, even before the 3 months, if they're on the same page or not. Because what did I say about dating with intention, right? So 3 months at some point could lead to a marriage. Maybe not at the 3 month part, but you get what I'm saying. That's a lot of that's time that you have with someone, building someone. That's also time that you could be also wasting someone's time as well.
Oh yes.
So
yes.
What would be your advice to those who've been in a relationship for 3 months already and are still confused?
They have to it now is a sense of where do you want to take it? How far do you want to go? Where do you want? What is your intentions? Now, no, after 3 months is not it's like, to me, 3 months is more like, it's not long enough, but it's like, it's like after the 3 months, going on to 6 months or so on, what's the intentions? Because you can be with somebody for, we know people like that. You can be with somebody for years and for like, not even years, for months and months. There's no talk about marriage. He's interested. He's not interested.
Zacchaeus, you could be with somebody for 3 years and there's no talk about marriage.
Not marriage. That's right.
You see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
That's right. So the intent, you always have to see what's the intention of that person, because the person could this is why you can't be unequally yoked, because because people have different cravings, people have different habits, people have different desires. And then when you spend time after the 3 months, you get to know them, but what are their habits? It's certain things that could be hidden after the 3 months that you didn't know about. And because there's people that's oh man, I've been with this person for so long, almost a year now, and all of a sudden now, they're into the swinging lifestyle. after a year now, they're into threesomes. And this is why, or they're not into. Let's say if you're into serving God, you're into the Bible, and you try to push them into, and now you realize that we really don't have that much in common. After 3 months, but it should. After 3 months, you should have a concrete understanding of the person. You should have at least a little. You should be able to have compatibility. Why compatibility? The compatibility factor is important because you don't want to be in a situation where you're all of a sudden. This is where some women mess up, some men mess up too. Where you sleep with somebody right away, and then you didn't know about this person. You didn't know certain things you didn't know about, and now you're surprised because you've been with them for after 3 months. So after 3 months, it should be like something that you have a direction where you're going. It should be a direction. It should be a stability. It's only me and you, not me and somebody else. A woman and a man should establish the status of the relationship after 3 months. It shouldn't be a confusion. It shouldn't be oh, I didn't know you into this. I'm surprised. You never discussed that. Or things, because sometimes the things that we ignore turn around and bite us in the behind. Certain things you notice about that person, you didn't take it serious. No much of the time, women, they look at some men that they're very angry people, and they ignored it. They didn't really take it serious. Oh, he got mad. He flipped the card, the shopping card over because he was upset, and you ignore that. He just got upset. But as time goes on, this man just punches a hole through the wall. He has an anger management problem. Yeah, but those are things that people ignore after a while. So after 3 months, you have to have a sense of direction where you're going. Are you gonna stay with this person, or is this person gonna be a flop? After 3 months, it should be okay. What's the intentions of this relationship? Are we serious with each other? Are we gonna eventually talk about making it official, or is it just a fun thing for the moment or for the time?
Right.
And that's the thing that a lot of single people, they get mixed up and it confuses them. Like, I don't know where this is going. I don't know what's the intention after the 3 months, the 3 months rule. And after 3 months, certain things should be discussed. Certain things should be laid out on the table, where this is going, what's the intentions, and what is the goal of the relationship? What do you want to establish? That should be put on the table. Yes, after 3 months. Yes.
Dr. Nicole, how do you know when someone is dating with intention? What are the key things that you could advise someone to look for as a green flag, and if they're not intentional, what to point out as a red flag?
Great question. So I think we hit on the I think Zakiya said it earlier, that if someone is calling you in the morning or throughout the day, making a point to, especially in the world of text, I think texting is, to me, useful when you can't talk. I don't think it should be a substitute. And I think that's the problem nowadays. Everyone is so isolated. Everyone is just their phone. People don't talk. I look around sometimes when I'm different places, even in restaurants, and everybody's at a table on the phone, or, you go to a person's home and everyone's on the phone. We used to have a rule in our house when the children were growing up, that cell phone at dinner time, it wasn't at the table. It wasn't allowed. Wow. We had to talk to one another and look at each other in the face and look at, in the eye. That's why I feel like it's so easy, for people to have these mass murders and things. People are dehumanized. People don't have that social connection.
Yes.
Look at people people as people. They play those video games and they're on social media, and people aren't people.
Yes.
So if I'm dating, it makes a difference if you're texting me all the time versus taking that time to pick up that phone and make the phone call. If you're trying to find out what my interests are and vice versa, I need to be doing the same. It should matter. To your point, I shouldn't have to go to fancy, label restaurants, because if we're, trying to experience one another, we can go, sit in the backyard or go to a park or sit in a car, or sit in your, and then we can enhance things and have ambiance and enjoy, a restaurant or other things. But we shouldn't make, one another feel like there's pressure for that next date. What can, be the next best play? Because that's not what it should be about. It should be about being able to talk and learn more about one another, what our goals are, our common interests, and things that we're interested in. To your point, I don't want to find out, months or years later that, you're not interested in, you're an atheist, you're not interested in God, or you're not interested in a family, or you hate your family, or you don't like pets and I'm a pet lover. Those are the important, conversations that people should have. I'm an early riser, or I'm a late, a night owl, and, I like to go to bed and get up early and work out. I hate working out, or I don't, those things matter, because if you have nothing in common, initially it might be that you're attracted because of looks, or, you see maybe somebody's profession, I don't know, but whatever your initial attraction is, that's what kind of brought you together. But then you need to see the things that can keep you together, those commonalities. And everyone doesn't have necessarily have the same interests, but you have to do on a sheet of paper. I tell people this all the time: pros and cons. And if the bad outweighs the good, if there's the good that you like, the bad will supersede it at some point. And it's just an inevitability. And so that's important. Or if that person means that much to you, where can you compromise where you're in the middle with those things? But I feel that it's very important to pick up on those cues. Someone is, it's an interesting thing I wanted to mention. I ask people when they're on these dating sites and things like that, I say, how do you both know when it's the point where you both remove yourself from that site? How do you know, you know what I mean? Like, I like you and I think you like me, but how do I know you're still not, do you get to a point where at that 3-month point, you say, you know what? I feel like you're that person that I want to move in that direction and get to, commit as far as, just dating each other and not everyone else. So I am no longer going to be on Match.com or whatever, versus, you think that person's there and then you're there, but they really aren't. I think you have to have that conversation, because if that person is not, at that point where you are, that can be a huge, letdown and and then you wasted, to your point, you wasted your time because you're moving in this direction and they're still all over the place. But I think for me, I always say my gut tells me. Everyone may not have a gut feeling, but I think that the cues would be the level of interest, their availability. If they're always busy, they don't have time, they're making excuses, they miss dates, they don't return calls. They come and they seem distracted. They're on their phone. They're not looking you in the eye. They're not really asking those questions. I think you, and it goes both ways. You can pick up on those things, those nonverbal cues, as well as obviously the verbal cues as well.
I'm going to actually stay with you. So what would be you don't have, it's kind of a personal question, but hopefully it's not too personal. You can answer it or not answer it.
Okay.
When we're doing this breakdown of 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, right? At that point, you're going to find out negotiables and non-negotiables, whether they're met or not. What is a non-negotiable for you that would stop you before you even get to the 3 months?
No, that's a great question. And, for me, I'd have to be honest to answer the question. I'd have to say when I was 20 something versus now. You know what I mean? Because a non-negotiable for me in my 20s would be someone, two things important to me are family, and then I wanted children. So if I see someone has, because it's going to say a lot to me about the character. If they don't have a good relationship with their family, that's a red flag for me. Now, I mean, of course, I don't like always talking black and white, always, never. I mean, if someone has a pathological family that was bad, abusive, you know, whatever, drug addicts, alcohol, you know, something like that, and they remove themselves to better themselves, I'm not going to hold that against them, but it doesn't have to be their biological family, right? So family is what you define, right? It doesn't have to be blood. So if they don't have that connection to some, you know, other people, that's a red flag. Because are you a sociopath? Is something wrong with you? You know, are you somebody who you don't have that connection because you're putting on airs and you're putting on a facade with me, but you really are not, you know, something's wrong with you? Versus someone, even if it's not their biological family, they have that connection. And then for me back then, of course, like I mentioned, I wanted children. If you don't, it's nothing, it's no offense. I'd rather know that in the beginning than get 3 or 4 years in a relationship, never having that conversation. And now we're parting ways because because for me, that wouldn't be a compromise. I wanted children. And so those would be two. The other thing would be for me personally, someone who, you know, smoking. That's not going to work. I'm not a smoker. So I don't, you know, want my house filled with cigarette smoke and things like that. And, you know, a compromise would be pets. I don't prefer pets, but I compromise. When my daughter wanted, you know, pets, when, you know, my husband didn't, he was okay either way, but my daughter wanted pets. I compromised. Like that was a negotiable thing. I love my kids. She wanted pets. I'd make it work. But for me, the family matters to me because that's near and dear for me. Everything else, you know, I guess I can, you know, well, you mentioned like I'm not a swinger. I'm not into the, you know, those deviant. So to each their own. I'm not going to compromise. That would be a deal breaker. No, and that's just me personally. But I know people, it works for them. And so, but for me, that would be, you know, a deal breaker. Other than that, nothing comes to mind that would just be so, you know, cut and dry that I'm not willing to compromise. You know, if someone, you know, has a weight problem, they overeat, I think we can work together if you're interested. If you're not, you just want to eat yourself to a heart attack and stroke and heart attack, that's not going to work. So I can deal with the fact that you may have, you know, differences and I'm not some, you know, psycho health person just because I'm a doctor. I enjoy, you know, fun food too, but within reason. But if someone were overweight, that wouldn't be a deal breaker from the standpoint if it mattered to them to work on that. So, you know, physical attributes I can work with because if I'm attracted to who you are, that's not going to be first and foremost for me. Like if you don't have the exact face that I want, I'm not going to just make it a deal breaker or force you to go to a plastic surgeon or something. So.
Okay.
Your question, or
yes, you did. I appreciate that. I'm actually gonna give you an opportunity, Mateo. I'll get to you in just a second. It's just that Dr. Nicole is the first lady on our podcast. And I finally get let me go ahead. Get a woman's perspective. Me and Zacchaeus have done many dating shows with dating topics, talking about men and women, but we never get, you know, a woman up here to give her perspective. So, Dr. Nicole, I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask any of us a question.
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you for the honor. And the question you asked me, may I ask you the question?
So,
you know, your last
question. Okay, non-negotiables. So it's personal to me, but this could probably help others as well. So a non-negotiable would be if we don't share the same spiritual beliefs. That's a big part of my foundation. I am of the Bible believing faith. So if I'm going to marry someone, I need to have someone who is of that as well, because that makes us biblically equally yoked, right? So that's a top one. I don't like unbecoming behavior such as attitude, disrespect. I don't like that. And I can pinpoint it in many different ways. My advice to those who are trying to figure out if someone's faking, this is how you know, because sometimes people will know the good things that you want and they will come chameleons to that to play that game throughout the time. Mm-hmm. One of the things people can't do is knee-jerk reactions. And that is, for example, if we're on a date and she's been nice to me since she's met me, right? Phone calls, first date's going well. If I see her disrespect the waitress, that's her character.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Okay. Now, usually that disrespect won't be immediately at the drop of a hat. It'll be when probably something goes wrong. Like, for instance, if she gets her order wrong and she handles it in a way that is not common decency, then it's like, yeah, that doesn't look so good. If somebody gets my order wrong, it's just as simple, oh, ma'am, I didn't order this. Oh, I'm so sorry. No problem. If it's what is this doing here? What do I look like? That it's not good. But the thing is that I'm saying this as an example because, and I'll go back to to the question. I'm not going away from it, but I just want to say this is that some people are very good at hiding themselves because they want to show you the best representation of themselves. And the best representation of themselves is conflict free, right? Conflict is a skill. Not everybody knows how to handle that. And that's how you see a person at work. But the thing is that things are good when everything's a yes, but the moment you get a no is when you get a person's true character. Because now it's, when everybody's being pleased, things are okay. Mm-hmm. But when you can't please everyone, that's when you get everything that you didn't see from the forefront. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I want to put out there for those when it comes to that particular non-negotiable. When it comes to family, yes, family is important because I believe when you marry a woman, you marry her family too. Mm-hmm. And there are things that you need to know. One of the things I try to look for is if a woman has respect for her father, right? Mm-hmm. Now, there are people who weren't raised by their fathers. I get it. But is their grandfather, is their uncle? I have to know that you have respect for men. Because I know a woman is vetting me how I respect women. Right. And one of the things women are going to watch for is how I treat my mother. So I already know that as a man. So I want to see how she is with, her father, right? If she has a relationship or not, but I just want to see how her respect with men is, right? I don't date women. I don't have children. So I don't date women with kids. I get it. I'm 38. You're going to run into more women who have children. I understand. Mm-hmm. But I still believe, because I don't have kids, that I can still ask for a woman who doesn't have children yet.
Mm-hmm. You still got a little time, yeah.
Well, but that's how I see it, Zacchaeus, because Zacchaeus, the reason why I say it is because when you come into a dynamic of someone who already has children, that could sway the way of the future of that relationship. Because number one, you're not just getting to know the woman, you now have to get to know the woman, her kids, and probably the baby daddy.
Yes, you do. Oh, yes. Can't forget the baby daddy.
So that's a lot. That's a lot to work with. And yeah. I'll say once upon a time I tried that with someone and it wasn't conducive to my health.
conducive.
So that was a situation that I had to kind of veer away from. That's part of my non-negotiables. I don't ask for a lot, but I will say this: I do. The Bible talks about picking a wife and things to look for. Having a helpmate is another word, right?
Yes.
You know, a woman who doesn't only just want me when I'm thriving, but then also, what is she going to do when I'm not thriving? Sometimes that happens. Dr. Nicole, you mentioned, what if a man loses his job? Do you know that that's when the real test for that woman is right there? Right?
Absolutely.
And that will show you exactly where her mindset is. And I'm going to tell you the sad thing about, I've never been married, but I can tell you one of the sad things I read about marriage is that usually people don't find out what kind of husband they got or what kind of wife they got until something bad happens.
Yes. That's a fact.
And some recover from that. Some, well, most don't, because when you look at the divorce rate, I can say the words most don't, but some recover from that. And it's about what stands the test of time.
Yes.
I'm sure you don't have that question for Zacchaeus because Zacchaeus is already married. So I can ask Mateo, Dr. Nicole, what his non-negotiables are.
Sure. Yeah. Definitely. Being disrespectful, like being very disrespectful to your family or my family. That's a non-negotiable. You gotta be respectful. Okay. Because I bring around my family, that shows that I'm way more interested in you compared to like somebody else I'm hanging out with. I'm not bringing them around my family at all. That's a huge difference. Like that, that dynamic shift. Another one is just like, I guess, consistently just like smoking or like cigarettes or weed or just
that's a non-negotiable for me too. I don't do the smoking. I forgot to mention that. But
I don't smoke weed, cigarettes, none of that. I'll occasionally drink, but I don't do that every day. Smoking that's just detrimental to your health anyway. But I don't want you to bring that around me or my family if I'm spending time with you, right?
Yeah.
And then another non-negotiable would be, oh my gosh. Definitely, like if you don't care about your health, meaning like, this is gonna sound crazy. I don't know. I like to go out to the gym. I'm a gym rat. My parents know I work out Monday through Friday. You know, I do cardio too. I run around our neighborhood like 2 times out of the day. I do 2-mile runs. If you don't, I don't know. Even if it's cardio or Pilates, if you don't do some form of just like working out, that just tells me the type of person you are. There's no like self-care about yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understood. Yeah,
I don't know, but maybe that's a hard take, but that's just me. I've been working out for years now, ever since COVID hit, because I thought the world was going to end. I really started taking my health seriously because at that time we didn't know what was going to happen, right? So if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out looking strong, more brolic, and and just having more care about myself.
Yes.
And in that regards, hygiene, right? Like if you don't brush your teeth, shower, that's a non. I feel like that's pretty, like straightforward.
Yeah.
You should care about, shower, use deodorant, just keeping up with your self-care.
Some people are so real with it. They be like, just accept me for me. Damn, this is how I am.
Right. But it's like, how you not care about if you stink or not? Or like, especially if you're going out and then like, is just, it's not hitting right, your body odor. Oh, yeah. I'm thinking about it right now, but yeah.
Would you go out with a girl wearing a bonnet?
No.
Wait, Zacchaeus, you mean in public or at home?
In public. No, in the house is fine. You can wear the bonnet, right? But if we're going out, if I'm taking you out and you're wearing a bonnet, like, oh my gosh, it's the impression, right?
I have another question for you, Mateo. Would you jump on the show called Pop the Balloon?
Pop the balloon. Oh, I heard about that. I'd do it. I'd go and pop on the balloon. Yeah,
you would?
I would.
Yeah.
I would.
Hey, Fifth, how about yourself? Would you go pop the balloon?
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna get to Mateo in a second. Zacchaeus, you actually could still answer the question. My mistake, because you wasn't always married.
Right.
Right? What was your non-negotiables before you got married?
My non-negotiables? Oh, shucks. I had a lot of them, but I think hygiene was one of them. I didn't care for smoking either. That was one of them too. Smoking. I didn't care for that because kissing somebody with a nicotine breath, nah, I didn't care for that. I think like that gothic look, I don't care for either. I didn't like that. I was I'm talking about back in the day. I was young. I didn't like that either. Let me see what else. I didn't like the hood, straight up thug kind of girl. Oh no.
Okay.
Oh yeah, gutter sniper. No, gutter sniper. Like straight from the she's confrontational. She's rough around the edges. She's kind of like she's confrontational. Her profanity is way over too. She can't even make a sentence without using the F-bomb. I mean, she's like argumentative, fussy all the time, fussing over every single thing. You drop a pencil, she's ready to bite your head off. I'm like, dang. Oh,
hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
I like a soft lady, ladylike, be a lady. Don't like, yo, what you say, what you say, nigga? Come on. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, come on, dog.
Not to cut you off, Zacchaeus. Fifth, can I name two more non-negotiables? I just thought of two.
Yeah, go ahead, Mateo.
When a lady's being masculine, like I don't like the masculine.
Yeah.
I'm in the relationship. Why are you doing my job, right? And it's just like that. It's an unbalance.
Right.
When it comes to the relationship, I just don't understand. Especially, I don't know. I grew up in New York. The women in New York are a bit more masculine than I can't talk about any other state. I feel like any other state, they're more in their femininity. But New York, Zacchaeus.
Yes. Yes.
Even you live in New York.
That's a fact. I'm from that's a fact. We even did a show about that. Yeah. And it's not the comment. I mean, hey, look, man, my family from New York. My mother from New York, right? But there's definitely it's definitely different from other places. I think there are plenty situations that you could see where a woman is a little rough around the edges, and then I say to men, we gotta. A lot of men were made to be, feminine too. So, you had that problem too. The dynamic is messed up,
Yeah.
So, I can understand it's a complaint on both sides. Women saying that they're running into men who are not masculine enough. And then men are running into women who are not feminine enough or not feminine at all, so I can understand that.
Both sides.
On some funny stuff, let me get back to you, Mateo, because Zacchaeus mentioned Pop the Balloon. Okay. You said you will go on that show. Let me see if I can figure out why you would go. Mateo, how tall are you?
6'1".
Zacchaeus, that's why. Because as soon as he gets on that show, a woman's not going to pop the balloon because he's 5'8".
Bingo.
Right? So Dr. Nicole, I don't know if you're familiar with this. No. Okay, let me explain.
Please.
Maybe I could pull up a clip. So there's a YouTube phenomenon. I call it because Arlette Amuli, I'm gonna give her credit. Does a show called Pop the Balloon. It's a very kind of like fast-paced dating show. It's they'll have a woman's panel, they'll have a man's panel, vice versa. Somebody will come on. If you pop your balloon, that means you don't want nothing to do with her or he, with the ladies. Or if you hold your balloon, then they get to decide, okay, well, since they didn't pop their balloon, let me see if I'll pop theirs. You know, and one of the main things that happens on that show is that people will disqualify. That's the best thing that I could say. They'll disqualify somebody for things that's does not reasonably, reasonable. So one of the main things on the show when it's the women's turn is that they will pop their balloon because of height. But let me tell you how hypocritical it is. So they'll have women on the show who are, and I'm not even making this up. They'll be 4'11", right? And they will pop their balloon on a guy who's 5'8", and they'll say he's too short.
Really?
Now the last time I checked, the average height for a woman is 5'3", 5'4". Average height for a man is 5'8", 5'9". Now I'm 5'8". I'm between 5'8" and 5'9". Zacchaeus is 5'8", 5'9", right? Me and you about the same height, right? So, a lot of men, and these could be very decent men, like their life and everything, right? But a woman will disqualify him because he's not over 6 feet. But then I would also say, Mateo, you being 6'1", you know that there will be women that will say that you're not tall enough.
No, correct.
I saw an episode where a woman popped a balloon on a guy who's 6'4", and she said that he was too short. Arlette asked her, well, how tall are you? She was like, I'm 5'8". And she was like, well, he's 6'4". She goes, I usually go for taller guys. He said, well, how tall are we talking? She said 6'9".
So NBA
She's trying to
level,
have an
NBA for Kevin Durant.
Right, exactly.
Wow, that's crazy.
Right, so it's a reflection of today's kind of modern dating world. That show, it's a microcosm of what's going on. But then now let me give the men some heat because sometimes this happens, right? So there have been men who popped the balloon on women because they didn't like the dress they had on. Now, I'm not saying that it was too revealing. Maybe they didn't like the color. That's a stupid reason to pop the balloon. Like one guy popped the balloon on a lady because she wore a green dress. Come on.
So superficial.
Very superficial.
Very superficial. But then I also like to add in that because that show is so popular, it averages 1 million views per episode. Yeah. It could be that people are going on there just to really chase fame.
Okay.
So I remember there was an old reunion show they had for her season 1, right? One of the guys on there warned her. He said, Arlette, the things that you and your husband have done with creating this platform to establish connections is fine. He said, but from what I observed from me being a contestant is that on this season and going forward, there will be men and women who will come on this show and they will not take it seriously and they will only do it just to promote themselves. He says, so I'm warning you right now that can happen. The man was right.
Clout chaser. Just
clout chasing, because that's basically what people have used her show as, a clout chase mobile. Yeah. And it's not fair because let's just say there's someone or someone's on the show who want to make or establish a genuine connection. That may pull them back from something like that. Right. So that's basically what the show is about. If I could find a clip real quick, but it's not good. I'll probably find one of my clips that I did a critique on. Let me do that real quick. Zacchaeus, you got your opinions about Pop the Balloon. Go ahead while I find this clip.
Pop the Balloon. It's fun to watch it, and believe it or not, there's only been about 4 to 5 people that actually got married off of that show.
Really?
Yeah. But not all the time, because you go on there and some people it's all mainly all black cast, mainly on BM and R that they have a panel of black women and black men, and it's all the way in Arizona, so you got to be able to, I guess you could fly to Arizona and then meet your potential woman because the goal of the show is to find love, and eventually, what BM's goal is to get people married, find love, and they have different ranges of ages. They think that the oldest couple they have is a 40 people ranging in their 40s to find love, and then they have people in their early 20s, 21, 22, 23 years old, looking for love, looking to find love, to establish. And most of the people that go in there, they say their professions. There are a lot of entrepreneur. I noticed that there are a lot of entrepreneur people that go in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of or they're high professionals, or they're just entrepreneurs of some way, of some sort. And some people do go, but you don't have to get nobody. You could just go in there because they have so much viewership. And you go back home, you look at your Instagram, you go to your Instagram page.
Oh, I just got like 10, 20,000 followers.
At 10, 20,000 followers off that show. But people just looking at you on that show. Yeah. You got your Facebook is blowing up.
Yo.
And yeah, here goes the clip.
All right, so this is one of my I did a watch along, so I did like a kind of like a mini review of this. I did like a watch along review of this show. So you're gonna hear my commentary in it, but you're gonna get the gist of what the show's about, okay? And this is speaking on the the woman saying the guy ain't tall enough. So all right, let's play.
Now is he someone that's your type?
Not usually. But I really like the outfit. You look really nice. Like your swag is on point.
She seems
really
nice, though.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Please don't.
What makes him not your usual type?
I usually go for someone taller,
Kenya.
a bit taller. You know, I feel like I'm a tall girl. I'm not too tall, but like
you got heels
just
on
a little bit. So I like, someone who's up here for me. Okay. Yeah, that's really it.
Like how tall?
Like,
because I'm 6'3", so I mean,
he's 6'3".
I'm above average. Way above average.
I mean, I don't really want to say like 6'5". Usually, I would like 6'5", but that's
no,
but
no.
It's just my preference. But 6 foot and
no.
I beg your pardon.
No.
I beg your pardon.
Where is your 6'5" Christian? There's not even that many 6'5" men in the world, and you want a 6'5" Christian man? You thought you was gonna find out on this show? Where is this man? Jesus wasn't even 6'5". Listen. These so-called Christian women, if Jesus was to date them, they would say he was too short. I can't take it.
Hi, my name is Mercy. I'm 30 years old.
Okay.
I'm from Kisumu, Kenya. And I'm a registered pharmacist. And yeah.
Okay. What do some things like to do for fun?
I like cooking,
just like a model.
a little bit here and there.
Naomi Campbell style.
I like modeling. I like fashion.
Okay.
And what else? I love watching movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie?
Man, it's so many. There's so many movies. I don't even know which one off the top of my head right now.
No problem.
Yeah.
Now, what are some things you look for in a man?
For me, I would say I want someone who's a man of God. Someone who has a heart for Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I want someone who is, who knows what they want. I want someone who's emotionally available. Character is really big for me. So someone who's humble, someone who's kind, someone who has like a giving heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what are some deal breakers?
Ooh,
ladies,
kids.
Okay,
someone who has kids.
Okay, he got a kid.
Someone who smokes. I don't do smoking. And I think
ladies who are believers. Your window is small if you're not realistic. And secondly, when you get on this show, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I don't. There ain't too many. Arlette would have to, you know what Arlette would have to do? She would have to recruit men from church for this to work.
Yeah.
You know, maybe she should do an episode dedicated to, I don't even know what Arlette believes, so that might not even be a thing. I don't know, man. I'm starting to get ideas. I mean, I don't know. I think I saw a parody of a Pop the Balloon Church edition, but it seemed like a joke because all the women on there was dressed like Medea. I don't know. It looked weird. You know what I mean? But anyway, this ain't it. This is not it. Sisters of the faith. Number one, you want the man to be a man of God. Fine, right? No problem if you are a man of God. You want the man to be tall. There's where the problem's going to be, because it's not only that he has to be taller than you, he just has to be tall. So if you're 5'5", like that other woman, that woman missed up on a good, you know what? I don't think that woman right there, okay, the last woman, not this one. I'm going to give her a chance. The last sister who spoke, she's single because she is in her own way. I don't think she's really seeking God or being found by a man who could be her husband, because she first said she go by character. She judged everybody off of their looks. So you don't know what you want. And secondly, you are not Proverbs 31 like you think you is. I could be wrong about that last thing I just said, but I'm not wrong about her getting in her own way with her preferences. I mean, you're in a relationship with a man, your shoes are going to come off. Your shoes are going to come off. You only wear heels when you're on a date, for the most part, or certain outings. Most of the time, women wear flats.
Hello. Yeah.
Women don't occupy heels like that all the time. Every woman that I've been with, they didn't rock heels like that. On their everyday, day-to-day, they was rocking flat shoes. They was rocking, you know what I'm saying, sneakers and sandals. When it was time to go out, they put on the heels. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that hasn't been a problem for me. I mean, I still had relationships. The heels don't, I typically date women who are shorter than me anyway. This is what it is. But, and not every woman is the same. I get it. There are women out there, when they get realistic, they're like, you know what? If he's my height and up, cool. And most women are 5'3", 5'4". Mm-hmm. The average height for a man is 5'8". All right. I'll play more.
Those are like my top two.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we did get a few pop balloons.
Okay.
Let's go on over there, see why they ended up popping.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with your name and age and why you ended up popping your balloon.
I'm Antoine. I'm 35. And you look amazing.
Thank you.
Listen, I popped my balloon because I'm Muslim.
Okay.
That's really it.
No, she's just right. Well, let me, I'll stop it there. Mm-hmm. That I was just giving an example. I know that was my clip of my commentary, but that was something that I could find pretty quick. Mm-hmm. So that's what the show is about. So, this is why when me and Zacchaeus talk about these dating subjects, we try to, really try to bypass all that superficial stuff and really get to what really matters when it comes to dating. And this is why I have the topic that I have, today, because notice today I didn't mention anything about in the dating rules about height and look. None of that even came up about the dating rules thing that I brought up about looks and everything. But we all know that looks are going to come into a play. And I do understand that people do have to be, physical attraction is a thing. I'm not going to say that it's a bad thing because, I mean, hey, I'm not going to be with somebody I'm not physically attracted to. But the key is that you don't just stop at physical attraction. What's going on the inside? Mm-hmm. Okay? Because once you check off that physical attraction box, okay, now let's get into the things that really matter. Mm-hmm. And these are the things that young men and women well, just men and women of all ages are going through, because you'd be surprised. There are people who are in their 50s and 60s still playing in the dating game. You know? So it's not just your 20s and 30s out here. You know what I'm saying? You know that, Zacchaeus.
Oh yeah, yes.
You know? So that's the thing about that. So I think we pretty much did a good job with the show. I do want to close it out. I'm very happy that you two have joined me. Very happy, and I'll just ask, when we close out the show, don't jump out the stream yet, because I want to talk to you guys behind the scenes. Okay. All right. So hey, Zacchaeus. I want to wrap it up, but hey,
yeah,
you have the floor to ask anything you want before we get up out of here. Okay.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna just say this: it was great having you guys. Oh man, I had fun today, big time fun. Maybe in the future we'll do it again. Definitely, you know.
Absolutely,
sure.
Do it again. Yeah, definitely do.
You guys allow us to come on the show. We'll be more than happy.
Yes,
absolutely. You have my word on that. You have my word on that.
Yes.
Zacchaeus, you have any questions for Mateo or Dr. Nicole before we get out of here? Any questions?
No, I think I'm okay for now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. All right. So, hey, Mateo, is there anything you want to promote before we close up the show? How can people reach you? Social medias? Anything that you have to promote before we go?
Yeah, sure. So if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, my IG is Mateo_TYG, and I have Snapchat, Mateo_TYG as well. I'm not as active on Snapchat as I am on Instagram, but those are like the two platforms you can reach me at. So, and then, Mom, you want to promote any of your?
Oh, okay, so Instagram, I'm Dr. spelled out .Nicole NICOLE . My last name is Borges, B as in boy, ORGES.com. And then my website is drnicoleborges.com. So it's just one word, drnicoleborges.com. And that's my website. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
All right. Zacchaeus, let everybody know where they can reach you at, man.
Reach me on Facebook, Wayne Bacchus 167. Also on Instagram, Zacchaeus Music on Instagram. Also Zacchaeus, Wayne Bacchus Gospel on Instagram as well. Reach me on TikTok, Wayne Bacchus Tree on TikTok. Also I have a YouTube channel as well, Zacchaeus Gospel Soca on YouTube. Check me out. Check out my videos there as well. Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all can reach me at The Fifth General, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. On TikTok at Fifth General TV, YouTube channel Fifth General TV. Mrs. Z and Fifth podcast is streamed on video episodes on YouTube, also iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast streaming platforms.
Yes.
Right? So we want to thank everyone for appreciating this episode. Once again, I'd like to thank Dr. Nicole and Mateo. Fun time today. All right. So for the audience, until next time, peace and God bless. All right. Next episode.